Today, folks, we're diving down into a $40 million market capped 5G play that when they reached out to me, I was like, damn, this is going to be a thought-provoking stock. So I'm leaving the full disclosure in the description below, but zooming out just a little bit, this is a company that trades under the ticker symbol Wi-Fi, W-I-F-I on the CNSX here, folks. It is a 35-cent micro-cap company, which comes with a lot of risk that we are going to be talking about in this video that I think is going to be interesting, controversial, thought-provoking all around. We're going to hear from the CEO, and I'm even going to dive down into the books of this company. But what do they do? How are they related to the 5G play? Not in the way you primarily think. In fact, this is a company that claims they're making a technology to protect you from the harmful electromagnetic waves that primarily are going to be coming from the 5G network towers here, guys. So they're saying they got a patented technology. It's independently tested, and it's built with nanotechnology. So let's get into the product itself, because it is not cheap, my friends. The smallest one they have that looks like it can kind of go on your phone, and I'm not sure exactly. From my understanding, what this would do is this is somehow like similar to sound waves. You can kind of deflect them if you have something that can kind of interfere with the same frequency. And we're going to look into their actual description of this patented technology, but this stuff really scales up to like credit card size versions that are selling for $319 here, folks. And according to how they say it works, they got a very complicated explanation here, and it gets a little bit more simplified as we scroll down. But the same simplified description I gave you, which I think it's just interfering and kind of dampening those waves. But nonetheless, it says, before proceeding to the description of the invention, it should be noted that all methods for protecting a BO, which stands for biological object or some stinky person, BO, I tried, all right, from the technogenic or the EM radiations comes down to reducing the intensity of the EM pulse, reducing the exposure time, or increasing the distance from the BO to the radiation source, which leads to the inconvenience or inability to properly use the source of EM radiation, especially when it's using to transmit large amounts of information. And of course, they're talking about 5G network here. The task for which the claim method is intended is to protect the biological object, in particular the human body, from negative influence of these technogenic EM radiation of wide range of frequencies. This aspect, it is most rational to change the structure of the EM pulse arising from the radiation source, transmitting it into a safer for the BO without losing its effectiveness. The restructuring of the technogenic EM radiation in the proposed method implies changing its amplitude frequency spectrum from the arbitrary form to the coherent form, though the influence of the coherent field created by the transformer that initiates the process of counter harmonization of the amplitudes, phases, frequencies, polarization vectors, and the EM radiation incidence on it. Now, if that wasn't a mouthful, I really don't know what is. So the real question you're probably asking yourself right now, is this legit? Is this a real thing, guys? Well, I went straight to the WHO to find some information on this myself, because this has been a controversial topic spreading many, many years, and I'm sure we've all heard about this to some degree. But according to the WHO, what are the potential health risks for 5G to date? And after much research performed, no adverse health effects have been casually linked with the exposure to wireless technology. Health-related conclusions are drawn from studies performed across the entire radio spectrum, but so far only few studies have been carried out at the frequencies to be used for 5G. So they actually state right in here, even though they've tested the entire electromagnetic spectrum, they haven't really done thorough tests on 5G. This is a very loose statement considering it's coming straight from the WHO. So what if we dig a little farther here? Well, according to Scientific America, since 5G is a new technology, there is no research on the health effects, so we are flying blind. To quote a US senator, however, we have considerable evidence about harmful effects of 2G and 3G. Little is known about the effects of the exposure of 4G, a 10-year-old technology, because governments have been remiss in funding this research. Meanwhile, we are seeing increase in certain types of head and neck tumors in tumor registries, which may be at least partially attributed to the proliferation of cell phone radiation. These increases are consistent with the results from these controlled studies of tumor risks in heavy cell phone users. It's very convoluted evidence, guys, and it's really funny because if we go to medical news today, they say, is 5G technology bad for our health? The actual ad at the top of this website is for the very company we're reviewing. So I think there's a large gray area amongst the scientific scientific community right now if 5G, let's say if you were directly next to it for an exposed period of time, if it would have a negative long-term impact on your health. And I'm going to pass that question off to you. What do you think about that below? Because clearly this company is leaning 100% in the side of, look, like this could detriment your health. And there's a lot of people, in my opinion, that agree with that side of it, because when we get into their sales and their books, you're going to be rattled by the income that this company is able to produce. So in the meantime, before we dive down into that, here's a quick little highlight from the CEO himself.
American Aeris is a nanotechnology company. We are focused on protection from electromagnetic radiation. This is actually a very big problem. With the current technology that we're using right now, we have an exposure to electromagnetic radiation emitted by daily communication devices such as your cell phone, cordless phone, Wi-Fi router, cell phone towers, that is over 1 billion times higher than it used to be 20 years ago. A very good example of this is when a newborn coming home, the first thing that the mother does, they would put a baby monitor right on the crib within an inch or 5 inches from their head. And that baby monitor is a Wi-Fi station which emits tremendous amount of electromagnetic radiation. In the worst case scenario, you can develop a glioma, which is a type of a brain cancer. Our technology is able to dramatically reduce the negative effects of such electromagnetic radiation exposure. We are about to deploy this product and sell it direct to consumer globally, and we are preparing the technology for an enterprise applications. The amount of technology that we are using today for all ages is enormous, so the market is unlimited.
So putting that aside, getting right into their books just really quickly here, guys, taking a look at the total assets. They currently have about $2.9 million, again, being a highly micro-capped company. A huge percentage of that, $676 million, sitting on cash alone. Their total current liabilities here, folks, are only at $472 million. For a small micro-cap company, it's actually very well poised capitally. Not a lot of debt, a lot of cash, and unlike a lot of the micro-caps, this one actually has really good margins and really good sales. I mean, taking a look at their total revenues right now, guys, we'll say for the 6-month end for 2020, which is all the information we had provided to us, we can see that they've done about $890 million in sales against 2019 when they did only $338 million for the same time period. Now, diving down into the expenses, when these companies are looking to fast pace their growth, we can see they are spending a lot of money here, guys, on advertising and promotion, which could come into a bit of a concern as well, not knowing exactly how much of that is reflecting into the sales of the product or promoting the stock in and of itself. But this is what growing companies do here, guys, is reinvesting and spending, which is why we can see a net loss of about $3 million, almost $4 million here. This comes with a lot more exposed risk to the stock in the company here as well. And then finally, guys, I just really want to pass this question back off to you, because when I find these micro cap companies, especially one that be worth $40 million in such a controversial space surrounding health and the 5G network that is about to come online, I'd really love to know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you are a company out there that would like me to review your stock, please let me know. All the disclosures in the description below. But stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you tomorrow.